Hey, this is Dr. Nought, and this is 80 Days, the game that we are playing. It's currently day 58, 7 p.m., and we're in Burlington on the North American continent. So, we're going to spend the night at the hotel and head down the Mississippi River tomorrow. Burlington was situated on the west bank of the Mississippi River and had grown to prominence along with steamboats that paddled up and down the long stretch of the river. The construction of the Burlington Railway route had caused a temporary influx of Chinese and Irish laborers into the town, where many of them drank and generally had a good time. Good times were a scarce commodity in Burlington, or so it seemed to me. The town distinguishes itself in my memory as the place where I managed to burn one of Monsieur Fogg's shirts. He was not terribly understanding. I showed him the faulty iron, and he acknowledged that I had not caused the accident through lack of skill. A great concession, in Foggish terms. Alright, what time are they leaving? 6 p.m. Oh, we've got plenty of time. Let's explore a little bit in Burlington. I spent a few hours in exploration, learning ways in which we might travel onwards. Okay. That was the shortest exploration possible. Let's see, we can move this over here. I like to keep things nice and tidy, you know? Move this here, move that there. Where does this... Alexandria, we're not going to go back to Alexandria. It's worth 10 times the amount there, but... We'll sell a bunch of things in cities that we might not ever go to when we need the money. We'll hang on to them now, just in case, you know? Let's depart. Yeah, we're looking good on health. We're taking the Dark Queen. We boarded the Dark Queen, a twin-decked, 6-boiler stern wheeler bound for New Orleans. The Mississippi was famed for the luxury of her steamboats, but also for their unfortunate tendency towards catastrophic boiler explosions. I felt rather grim at the prospect of having all my flesh parboiled like a lobster, and resolved to spend as much of the journey to Crescent City, as far away from the amidships boilers as possible. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. What do we got? Police hunt card sharp known as the Reverend's daughter, last seen Yokohama. She's stealing a lot of money. The common rooms and lounges of the Dark Queen were full of gamblers, enticing passengers into games of dice or cards. The river ports had been passing more and more regulation, and the cheats and crooks had all fled to the unregulated waters of the Mississippi to ply their trade. Fool and his money are soon parted, so the saying went. I had little pity to waste on fools, though Monsieur Fogg clearly found the entire operation distasteful. Relations with Fogg have deteriorated slightly. That's okay. He's at full health. He's doing fine. Let's converse. Greetings, Captain. Passpartout, you slimy dog. What? Right, tell me about New Orleans. You have to visit New Orleans if you like jazz. Alright. Oh, slimy dogs. Maybe that's a compliment? I don't even know. New Orleans to Washington. You mentioned trains. I've been told my uncle designed parts for the Western and Atlantic Railroad from Chicago to Atlanta. Okay, that route doesn't really help us right now. Tell us more about Atlanta. Now here's the thing. Some buyers will pay well for wax cylinders described with music from Atlanta. But now, you ever wrestled a crocodile? No. I don't take you for a timid sort. Oh, okay. Atlanta to Marrakesh. All I know is this. Gemma El Fna is one of the busiest market squares in Africa. Okay. Marrakesh. Let me tell you, some buyers will pay well for oil paintings from Marrakesh. What do we got? We got Chicago to Atlanta. Alright, that's it. We don't have anything to Marrakesh. Captain Latour was clearly quite cozy with the gamblers, and had something of their attitude himself. I'll wager I can get us to New Orleans in 3 days rather than 4, he shouted to the room at large. Who'll take that wager? We could use an extra day, and the captain seemed quite sure of himself. 100 pounds on it, I called. The captain whooped before loping off to the engine room. Watch and learn, my friends. You'll see a record-made day. Day 60, Monsieur Fogg murmured that night in his sleep. Still some distance yet to travel. Yeah, I'm not feeling that confident. Greetings, Mademoiselle Greenwood. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing aboard this thing. I'm told you have to visit New Orleans if you like jazz. I hear the entire city dresses up for Mardi Gras. Cool. New Orleans to Havana? You mentioned airships. I've been told you can get to London from New York aboard the Henrietta, but the fare is over £5,000. Ooh. Okay. Do tell me more about London. Are we just quizzing her because we're from London? Or we live in London? I know that the quickest way to London from here is to go via Atlanta. Okay. Well, some buyers will pay well for wax cylinders described with music from Atlanta, but tell me, our captain is an arrogant sort, don't you think so? Yes, let's agree. I will pray for his soul, for all the good that will do. Yeah, we know. Cylinders, Atlanta to Washington, we know this. I've been told you can get to Ottawa from Winnipeg aboard the Canadian Pacific Railway. But more about Ottawa. Have you heard that the quickest way to Ottawa from here is through Washington? Tell me more about Washington. Well, some buyers will pay well for top hats from Washington. Goodbye. All right, so we know New York to London. That's what we gotta do. It's £5,000. If we get blown off course at all, we're done. So there's our route. New Orleans, Atlanta, Washington, New York, London. We got 19 days. Captain Latour ordered the Calliope to play a tune as he mustered the crew and gave them the order to push the engines to their maximum limit. Please, I hope we don't explode. The coal shovelers scabbled at the extra work involved, but the captain ignored them magnanimously. The Dark Queen's crew seemed competent enough, but as the boilers whistled and screamed, the ship began to make ominous keening noises. Oh no. No. I began to think better of the wager, and tried to convince the captain to renege, to little avail. I had a terrible feeling about the entire enterprise. Keep shoveling, Captain Latour shouted, tapping dials and muttering orders. He squeezed more oil onto the engine crank. We'll be in New Orleans by sundown. No! Which was when something began to make a screaming noise. I turned about, looking astern, seeing smoke issuing from a crack in the metal, and then... It was too late. The rear boiler exploded. The entire ship seemed to shudder and convulse as the sailors screamed and wept and burned. It was hell, in the literal rather than metaphysical sense, and I was in it. We did not reach New Orleans that day, and I wondered if we ever would. Fogg said to have crossed the dateline, but will extra day be enough? No, it won't. None of the sailors died yesterday, though some, no doubt, wished they had. A much chastened Captain Latour moored the ship and organized boats to take them to doctors ashore. Monsieur Fogg and I were unharmed, at least physically, but there is no music or laughter on the Dark Queen's deck. And even the hardened gamblers played a respectful silence. So that took us... Oh my god, we're going so slowly. The Dark Queen continued her journey down the Mississippi, though at a crawling pace. Captain Latour ordered only 2 of the 5 remaining boilers fired, and had to offer double pay to the stokers to induce them. It is my fault, I confessed to Monsieur Fogg in anguish. I took his damned wager. My master regarded me thoughtfully. Captain Latour took a gamble, and this time he lost. That is all. I was speechless at his cold-heartedness, thinking of the screams of the sailors. Passpartout, Fogg said softly, seeing my concern. We all must gamble. The only difference is in our calculation of the odds. We docked in New Orleans when the sun was low in the sky, glinting over the brackish water of the river and bathing the French and Spanish colonial villas of the city in soft yellow light. Captain Latour came to see us off, bent back, and almost gray us. He handed me my winnings of £100. I think this wager has taught me a caution, he said shakily. Be wary of New Orleans. She is a city a man can abandon himself in. I took his money. It was a paltry sum, but perhaps it would help him remember his lesson. Oh man. That sucked. That took us 6 days. So we have 14 days left. Let's get as much money as we can. Oil paintings. Anything else. Smith & Wesson. Wax cylinder, Chicago, Houston, and Atlanta. We already have one of these. Let's grab another. It may pay for our trip. I'm gonna get rid of this too. Wax cylinder. Put that over here if we can. We can if I can. Come on. Okay, we have to do this. Oh, that could pay for our trip. Okay, let's grab that. Of interest to officials, foreign types, and yeah, we'll grab that too. Okay. Let's get out of here. We don't have time. You're at full health, dude. These long trips are killing us, but we need to negotiate this. No charge for tomorrow. We're doing it. Alright. We gotta book it so fast. I met Death in a smoke-wreathed, red-lit bar in New Orleans. That is a hard sentence to say. As the jazz band struck up another tune, he offered to buy me a bourbon. Holy Mother of Heaven, I blasphemed succinctly, as some of the other patrons snickered. Death pulled off his mask to reveal handsome, cafe au lait features and dark green eyes, and then extended a skeletal hand to me. A fine costume, I remarked. Merci, mon cher. I am Death at our neighborhood Mardi Gras, and I am practicing my role. He took my proffered hand and brought the back of it to his lips for a gallant kiss. He flicked me a rather unmistakable look under his dark lashes. Be so clearly desired by Death was unnerving. I found my feet, shaking, and stepped back. He tilted his face to the side. Do you find my color displeasing? He asked with a lazy smile. Not that. He laughed, low and pleasing. It matters little, mon cher. There are many white men in New Orleans who do. In spite of it, I am a free man. Death resumed his mask. I do not believe in prophecy, but the chill of his cold fingers on my face sent a thrill of fear through me. Abandoning dignity, I ran from the bar, nerves rattling like knuckle bones in a cup. 15 days. Oh my god. We're not exploring, we're just taking off. We're heading to New York today. Arrives Friday, that's only 2 days. Let's go. This is the last quick, we gotta do this. The Piedmont Air-Line from New Orleans was not in fact an airline at all, but according to its advertising, the fastest railway in America. What could be better for getting us to the edge of the Atlantic? Despite still being half the world away, we still had every chance. What do we got on the news? Mysterious Frenchman captures notorious Jesse James. Yeah, we're just crushing it with the news. Oh, we could jump off here and sell stuff in Atlanta. But no, we don't have time. We settle ourselves in a carriage with one other occupant, an extremely large man who introduced himself as Charlie Sullivan, a lad from Birmingham, who had grown into something the size of a warehouse building, with huge tracts of muscle, especially around the neck and upper arms. His mustaches were nonetheless perfect. He had multiple mustaches? Right. I had asked what had taken him to New Orleans, and he grunted, boxing. You fought in a competition? I interrupted. There was an exhibition, he said. I won. 3rd round knockout. I gulped. However, Monsieur Fogg's interest had been increasing sharply throughout the conversation. You are trained, he demanded keenly, or self-taught? I've got a manager, Sullivan replied. He tells me what to hit. Excellent, excellent, Monsieur Fogg enthused. I want to hear all about it. I sat back and enjoyed the conversation. The details of boxing are more intricate than one might expect. And hearing the business of cut and thrust delivered in Sullivan's so very English tones was quite informative. Little did I know how the details I had heard would come to be of use to me. That's so. Let's converse a little bit. Greetings, Monsieur Lagarde. Tickets, please. New York. I'm told that they're building that thing out on the island there. Some people say one can travel aboard the Canadian Pacific Railway from New York to Ottawa, but the fare is worth saving up for. New York to London. Okay, you're gonna think about how it's 5,000 pounds? You want some Darjeeling tea? Tell me more about New York. I find my position takes me elsewhere. No, dude, come on. New York to Caracas? Let's just say that you can pick up handheld mirrors in Caracas you can sell for profits in Marrakesh. We don't even have time to do that. New York to Dakar. Here's something I do know. I hear the Signares of Gori are formidable women and active in politics. But tell me, do you play football? These people cannot hold a conversation. Yes, I play football. I am trying to start a league back home. What can you tell me about London? Very good. Okay. How about London to Quebec City? Did you know some buyers will pay well for wax cylinders inscribed with music from Quebec City? That's nice. I've heard that some buyers will pay well for top hats from Quebec City. Alright, goodbye. Let's go, let's go, let's go! That Mr. Sullivan will, I think, go very far indeed, Monsieur Fogg opined as I brought him kippers from the dining car. He seemed to have the physique, I suggested. Not just the physique, my master replied. Physique is not the secret. His description of the transferal of weight from foot to foot was very well understood indeed. Is he engaged in any fights, I asked? You could place a bet. An excellent suggestion. He forked a mouthful of kipper. You should fight him. I almost choked. He looked at me with surprise. Is something the matter? Forgive me, it sounded as though you said I should fight Monsieur Sullivan. Indeed, he forked another forkful. You needn't be alarmed. I can teach you to box. I rolled back my sleeves. I'm sure you can, Monsieur, I replied, and I am a quick learner. Or at least I thought, somewhat confident in nature. Excellent. Monsieur Fogg put down his paper. I've arranged for a space in the guard's van. Come. When had he done this? I do not know. I merely followed, and there was Sullivan, stripped to the waist, doing his warm-up exercises. Piss pour two, he greeted me through a thick leather-mouthed guard. Sullivan, I declared, meatily, as I removed my own shirt and tried to listen to my master provided some pointers. And then the fight began. What? You better bet a lot that we lose. Sullivan was a tough opponent, and if he chose to swing hard, he would brain me unless I defended myself, but he would not be able to slug on every swing. I would have to pick my moments to attack. To begin with, I kept my guard up, matching Fogg's demonstration from across the car, just as Sullivan punched hard. The blow landed against my defense. I shook it off as best I could. A small crowd had gathered to watch the fight, and they murmured with excitement. Strength and stamina are different, Monsieur Fogg called to me from the side. Your strength will come back if you swing lightly, but your stamina, once gone, will leave you out cold. I nodded to show I had heard. Sullivan's eyes narrowed. I jabbed. A quick, decisive move, while Sullivan made a quick jab. I overpowered him, landing a sting. We were both still lively, although he was faring a little better than me. Watch it, the next swing may be harder, my master called. Next I brought up my defenses. Once more protecting my face, Sullivan lifted his defenses. We circled each other nervously. Neither of us was badly worn, though he was looking better than me. Oh, crap. You will have regained some muster from that block, my master shouted, so be warned. Sullivan's weight moved back. He's making to swing, my master shouted. Then I kept my guard up. Once more protecting my face, just as Sullivan punched hard. I caught the punch neatly. We were both still energetic, although he was faring a little better than me. I heard rather than saw the money changing hands. Spectators were betting on me. I saw Sullivan's shoulders move back. He's making to block, Fogg murmured, but don't swing too hard. Now it was my turn. I jabbed. A quick, decisive move while Sullivan snapped up his arms to block. I knocked him back a little. We were both still energetic, though he was looking better than me. I saw him shift up onto his tiptoes. Alright, let's do it. I threw a heavy punch, putting all my weight behind it. Sullivan punched hard. I burst through his attack, knocking him back across the carriage. Excellent hit, Monsieur Fogg declared. A little blood leaked from his lip. I could hardly believe it. I was winning. Sullivan was almost ready to drop. You won't be able to swing like that again, my master shouted. Next, I jabbed. A quick, decisive move, just as Sullivan delivered a stinging punch. I got my blow in, landing a sting. Sullivan span about and fell backwards onto the floor of the van. Defeated! Generous hands scooped me up into the air. Excellent show, Monsieur Fogg beamed, displaying a violent burst of character. Most impressive! Sullivan was rubbing the side of his head and cursing in a version of English I did not recognize. I shook his hand as he was carried to a compartment to lie down. I believe this makes you lightweight champion of North America, Monsieur Fogg remarked to me. More to the point, we won a little from a wager or two. 2,000 pounds, in fact. Perfect. Your funds have gone up by more than 2,000 pounds. Relations with the Fogg have strengthened. Nice. Let's get to New York. What's on the news? New York threatened by piracy increased. Oh, that's not good. I awoke, still smarting from my boxing match with Sullivan, and my master most generously decided he would fetch breakfast. You are too kind, monsieur. Indeed, he replied, and we cannot have you dropping the tray. He returned with black coffee and well-buttered toast. A most considerate choice to bring to a Frenchman. Or at least, so I thought, until he began to eat the toast himself, and drank the coffee in a slurp. Okay. We arrived in New York later that day. I struggled to lift the cases with my tired arms, and we staggered off the train. Relations with the Fogg have deteriorated slightly. Why? Because he didn't bring me flippin' breakfast? Alright, we're in New York. That's all that matters. Let's sell the trombone. Look at this. We have so much money. Both wax cylinders. Can we knock this down a little bit? Not very much. We'll lose at least one of these suitcases. Alright. I think we'll grab, let's see, penny black. We're not going to go to Lisbon. We're going straight home. Grab some apples. We can get some things. We're just making it. We're making for it here. Valuable here and in Atlanta? Yeah, that didn't work. Anyway. Alright, close the luggage. What's the plan? What do we got? We're going straight to London, yes? Why would we ever go backwards? Why are you even showing me these options? Okay, how long does this take? Let's negotiate. We need it to take less than 13 days. Arrives Wednesday, that's fine. The pocket altimeter from our air traveler set should spur them on. Continue. Oh yeah, we're leaving tomorrow. Can we afford this? 5,300 would leave us with... Yeah, we could afford this. Yeah, let's do it tomorrow. Alright, that's what we're gonna do. We're going to London tomorrow. So let's explore. What, new routes? New York to... Reykjavik. I was pickpocketed in New York. What? I seized the thief's hand, still in my pocket. You tangled with the wrong Frenchman, I exclaimed in triumph. The little thief looked up at me with thick-lashed eyes. I realized belatedly that the thief was a young girl, barely 10. I released my grip slightly, and she took the opportunity to curse in a thick Irish accent and bite me. I held on, despite the inconvenience, and finally she grinned at me, teeth stained with my precious life's blood. Are you done, little vampire? For now, the girl muttered. What's it to you? I mean, you're pickpocketing me. I looked down at my bloody arm. Truly, it was a salutary lesson not to let my guard down in strange climes. Don't steal again, I commanded sternly. As she returned my possessions, she agreed she would not. Not ever again. Cross her heart, though her expression was shifty. I relaxed my grip, and she slithered away and lost herself in the crowd. I made my way back to our hotel before anything more untoward could befall my delicate person. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly. Alright, so we're going to stay at the hotel, and we're going to leave for London the next day. It's the last stretch. We're going to make it. I think we can do it. 13 days. Here we go. Alright, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.